Good morning, a very early morning. This is djPerdición with our pilot episode of Tech Talk, the technique of DJing. I figured, who needs another lesson on how to use your computer software, how to make music, how to produce music, how to do that type of thing? Because here at Tech Talk, djPerdición et al., we have no interest in producing and creating and, making our own movie and starring and editing and doing all that stuff. I believe that the art of DJing, the technique of DJing, is something that is invaluable. It's something that the DJ was meant to do. If you are someone who can and wants to produce your own music and do all of your own production work and learn about synthesizers and learning how to put it all together, that's great. I myself have come from a musical family. Production work, I played classical piano for many years. Production work is something that I highly respect, but I think that if everybody goes into the studio and is doing production work and that type of thing, who's going to be left out on the front lines to program the music? So here we're all about technique and the art of DJing, and I'm going to talk to you about that for a few of these episodes, and then later on we're going to get into actually some applications of the things that we have learned. It's very dark in here because I was going to start this yesterday, but it's about 3:30 in the morning. You'll see more of me on different occasions at different times of day, but let's get started. Just an overview, some of the things that I'm going to be talking about. I'm going to try and do these in half-hour segments. Some of the things I'm going to be talking about in the next few episodes are some of the big P, as I call it, programming. Here, I'm a house music DJ. The larger umbrella, you want to call it a dance music DJ. I'm a house music DJ. A subgenre of that is a tech music DJ. We'll talk more about that definition later. But we're going to talk about programming music versus playing music. We're going to talk about people watching. We're going to talk about theme music versus having themes in your music. We're going to talk about all the ideas that surround, your atmosphere, your environment. We're going to talk about concepts. We're going to talk about conceptual, intelligent execution of music. We're going to talk about more programming, and we're also going to talk about technical aspects of not so much the new equipment. I'm going to come at it from a vinyl standpoint, and we're going to talk about some of the history of the turntable, of the Technics 1200 turntable, and we're going to talk about sound and acoustics based on that, and how sound and acoustics plays a big part in your style. And we're going to talk about volume levels. We're going to talk about chords a little bit. We're going to talk about harmonies. And we're also going to talk about the importance of music with vocals, music without vocals. We're going to go into something that, if you're a professional watching this, that is great. If you're not a professional watching that, that's great. But I'm going to give you the lowdown, rundown, final word on DJ verbiage or lingo, if you prefer, that we use to differentiate different styles. And this is not sort of like a lesson on etiquette. This is to help us to discern the different subgenres and genres of dance music so that we can have a better idea of what sounds we're referring to when we talk in the series that I'm doing, but also when we talk about the different ways of some of what I'm going to get into: mixing, beat mixing, transitioning, mixing as a way of navigating throughout your night. We're going to talk about libraries. We're going to talk about how you organize your library. We're going to talk about using descriptive words in your library descriptions. We're also going to talk about equipment. So, I think that is a pretty good overview of things. Like I said, in the first maybe 3 or 4 of these videos, it's going to be me lecturing, and then hopefully I can figure out a way so that we can, because my equipment is pretty basic right now, we're going to figure out a way for me to be able to put on music and then pause it, and then be able to start to get into some basic mixing techniques and to identify music and to identify what it does. That's another whole subject that we can get into when we're talking about music and what music represents. Are we listening to our songs? Are we listening to our tracks? Do we know how to use them as tools rather than, let's just say, well, I bought a bunch of music this week, I want to play it. As I say to my students, you know, each track, each MP3 we buy, it has a soul, it has a spirit. You know, there's something that it wants to say, there's something that, you know, the people who worked together to make this production wanted to say, or felt, or wanted to put out there into the world of the universe, if you will. So, forgive me. So, let me give you a little history about myself. My DJ name, my current name is djPerdición. No. give you history on my DJ name, Perdición. That's level 5. You have to graduate from my first 4 courses in order to understand that name. I'm just kidding. Perdición. That's my DJ name. My given name is David M. Marshall, David Michael Marshall. I used to go by DJ David Marshall, but now I use a different moniker. I have lived in New York City about 25 years. I come from outside of Philadelphia, where I moved to Boston when I was 16 and lived there to pursue education. And then, you know, when I started going to the clubs, the first thing that I grew to love was the sound of the dance beat, the club beat, the house beat. You know, while everyone else was meeting people, I was really enjoying, you know, talking to the DJs, getting the names of, you know, the records, where I could buy them, that type of thing. And then I started to, I got a gig in Providence, Rhode Island, which was a fun way to spend the weekends for a few years. Going down to Providence, Rhode Island, playing at a Leather Levi bar with a dance floor, which is kind of no longer an obsolete entity now. And then I played at a few like dive bars in Boston, and then before coming to New York, I got a summer job up in Ogunquit, Maine, which is a little vacation resort town up there. And unfortunately, it didn't work out. I had issues with the proprietor of the establishment, and played a little while up there. Then found myself at a loss, so I came back down to Boston and stayed with some friends, for a little while before meeting up with a new friend who lived in Hell's Kitchen in New York City, and I sublet there, got a sublet there for the summer because the actors would rotate going to summer stock in upstate New York. And so down here I came. That was in like 1998, and this friend that had I had met at a party in Boston, like I said, when I came back from Maine. He worked for theaters and Amphar, and he was really into DJing. He really liked my music a lot. I shared cassettes with him and stuff, and he always asked me questions about my music, which I liked. That thrills the DJ. It means that the listener is really listening and asking questions. And I got some local work in Hell's Kitchen, and then and then, I got some jobs in the village, and then I got some work at some prestigious leather bars in the on the west side, some a big popular dance club in Chelsea, Splash, as people know, and then the Eagle and the West Village and Chelsea, and did pretty well for a while, and then things happen, and I got out of the business for a while. I moved to New Jersey, and had a little bit of life there. I did a little bit of some DJ work at a hotel in Secaucus, New Jersey. Came back to New York in late 2000s, 2018, 19, got into the business again, got equipment, got a console, and in the last 5 years I've really worked on my social media and made connections, and just really, this isn't the vinyl world anymore, and just really gotten into the new work, and worked with a couple students even again, and then tried to get back, and I haven't had club work in a while, but I'm really trying to take advantage of the different social medias and things like this, because in my work, my day jobs included a lot of work in the restaurant industry, retail industry, and I've always enjoyed teaching, coaching, training, that type of thing, and so I figured I'd give this a shot, see how this helps me, and so here we are with about 15 minutes remaining. I guess we'll get to the first subject of it's the big one. I'll just, you're going to hear me saying this a lot. Tell you a funny story about music. I'll tell you a story about New York. I'm full of stories. You'll find it full of stories. First story I'm speaking, because I was just talking about coming to New York. People used to say, "You should go to New York." When I was living in Boston, you should go to New York. That's where all the competition is. That's where all the DJs are. That's where all the top creme de la creme is. And I would be like, "Oh, what do I want to go there for then?" I don't know if you find that funny, but that was sort of my I preferred to be more of a big fish in a small pool. I came here. I had visited a little bit before, but never was that impressed with New York. And then the other one was when people said, "Why did you come to New York?" I just sort of said, "I don't have anything better to do." Very, very sort of blasé about it. But anyway, getting back to music, I was at a party not too long ago, and this guy said, "So what do you do?" And I said, "I'm a DJ." And he says, "Oh, so you just put one record on after the next, right?" And I said, "Well, yeah, basically." And I said, "Well, what do you do?" He's like, I'm a clothing designer." And I said, "Well, you just basically sew one piece of fabric to the next, right?" And he said, and he said yes, and then we sort of laughed and hit it off after that. So when we talk about playing music versus programming music, I played music for this crowd last night. I played, the ABC club, or I played the XYZ club. I played. People are like, "Well, what's that? What do you mean by programming music? What do you mean by playing versus programming?" Well, the easiest thing that I can say about it is the following. We're gonna like do this. We're gonna do this like the long way, the way I like to do it. Since I don't have a CD or a vinyl record handy, let's look at this bottle. It says, I hope, am I gonna get cited by YouTube for copyright infringement, like on most of my albums, for advertising Aquafina? I hope not. Why is the top of this bottle? Why is the cap white? Why are there these ridgy things right here, but not so much here? And why is it curved? Why does it curve in here, I guess, to hold it? And this is transparent here. The Q goes under. See the Q? There's a point to this. And there's a heart in the mountain. It's obviously fine water. Maybe this is such a good example. I'm going somewhere with this. Hold on, let me get something better. Okay. This is my passport. I'm not going to open it up and show you the numbers. It'll say. Why does it say pet? Why is the insignia? Oh, this is ridiculous. What I'm trying to say is, like on this bottle, there's like reasons. This is my like nicotine spray. It helps keep me from smoking. It's like, why, most of these things that I'm showing you actually, it's funny. We just maybe learned another lesson here. What I'm trying to like explain to you is that programming, it's funny, I just taught myself another lesson, and maybe you too. Programming means that there's a reason why. That's why I usually use a vinyl record or a CD that has like a list of things. A list of things is better. There's a reason why certain things are put in certain places. There's a reason why the letters are shaped a certain way that they are. In a piece of artwork, there's a reason why this color blue was used here and not here, and there's a reason why it was framed a certain way. Now, it was funny, in the examples of the things that I just gave you, we sort of saw with the Aquafina bottle, it was trying to look sort of like water and like curvy and like flowing, and where it curved in, like you could hold the bottle, that was for your hand, and like for this spray thing, this is here so you can take the top off, and the ridges things are so there's friction so you don't drop it. But the bottom line is, we don't always know why. We don't always know why in like, for example, with the CD or the album listing, the repertoire listing of all the songs and like the order they are. Like that's what I usually use as an example. 1 through 10, 1 through 15, 1 through 20. Why is like song number 6, 6 and not 9? And why is like song number 11 not 3? And song number 3 is not 18 and 18 is not 20? Why? I don't know why. Ask the people with the money who put the album together. I don't know why. But there's a reason. There are reasons. And we don't necessarily know, what reasons those are, per se, but however it came to be, you're listening to those tracks, hopefully, you might scrub through them or around them, but if you ideally sat and listened to the whole album or CD, the hope is that you will sit and listen from 1 to 10 or 15 consecutively. You will just sit there and hear 1, then 2, then 3, and so on until 15. And you will have that experience of having just had the experience of listening to 1 through 15, one after the next, after the next, after the next. And that's the experience that they want you to have. For example, also programming of a different sort, pre-programming, as opposed to program as we go along, like with DJing. When you get a program bill, when you go to a Broadway show, you look at the program, and Act 1 is Act 1 and not Act 3 for a reason, and Act 2, Scene 4 is not Act 2, Scene 1 because they want it to be Act 2, Scene 4. And it's not in Act 3 because it's supposed to be in Act 2, because if it was Act Scene 3, Scene 4, it would upset the... There's a reason why they've put things in a place that they have. And to some people it may be apparent, it may be clear, but in a lot of cases it's not clear, and it's not supposed to be clear. The whole point of it isn't for you to, you're doing the Friday crossword puzzle, and to the person who figures it out is the one who wins and stands up during the show and says, I figured it out! No, it's entertainment. It's entertainment, and the purpose of your being there is not to, play, Inspector Gadget and to figure out, with Elementary Watson. Of course, we know why I guess some people think that way, but you're really kind of missing the whole point of the enjoyment and the pleasure of being there to have an experience that this whole production team wanted you to have. So, I hope this is beginning to congeal a little bit. So, when a DJ puts together a repertoire, we're creating an experience. We're creating an experience for you. And that experience is based on a lot of things. And hopefully, that DJ is a lot of that experience is a reflection of the audience. Okay? I sense another story coming on here, but I have to keep notes because I don't want to give you the whole entire series of 10 half-hour episodes, which I'd like to give to you, in the next 8 minutes, which really should be spread out over the next 80 minutes. So, programming. If you play music, you just putting on one record after the next, like that guy at the party who told me, do I just put on one record after the next? And yeah, but a program is I don't know if you want to call it a journey or what do you want to call it? But a program is a tapestry of ideas and beliefs and feelings and of tried and true ways and of experimental ways, and a sort of an encomium or a hope or a wish that a series of ideas and beliefs come together and form and congeal a picture that makes sense. Not to everyone in the same way, but like any beautiful piece of art, hopefully from a different angle or a different standpoint, everyone gets a sense of a sort of a touchstone. I had a genuine sense of something happening to me at that party last night. I had a sense of something happening. There was a program. Got it? Get it? Good. Okay. So, there's a story for you, but this story is it's a really important story, and it's one that I keep in mind because I was such a flip little prima donna when I was confronted with the story. And this is when I was working at the Yukon Trading Company. So long name of the club for you, right? No, it was not like a fur trading post. It was in the heart of Providence, Rhode Island. I was working right across from like Johnson and Wales, and down the street from like Brisbee or whatever the school's name was. And my employers, I would always stay overnight in a little hotel down the street, on Snow Street, and wanted me to come in the next day for a little review. I was there like 3 years, so I guess they did this like every year or something before I went home to Boston. So, very simply put, it was a while ago now, they asked me, they said to me, the club was empty. It was like Saturday morning I had played Friday night, or Sunday morning I played Saturday night. The owner said to me, a lot of people really, really like your music. You mix very well. A lot of people really, really like your music, and a lot of people really, really don't. How do you know what to play next? And you know what I said? Little bitch that I was back then. I said, well, I imagine I was down on the dance floor thinking, what would I want to hear next? And I just remember one of the owners saying, well, don't you take into consideration what people, what everybody wants to hear? And I said, oh, yeah, sure, of course. And I don't remember what happened after that, but I still had a job, and I went home and back to Boston. But very interesting question, especially when we're talking about programming. So, our program, we have what's called a live program. When you go to see a program, like a piece of art, or like an art gallery or a Broadway show, that's pre-programmed pretty much. They're reading from, well, it is pre-programmed, meaning they've already practiced a role, a script, or whatever, and they're executing that. Even though I'm sure, an actor will tell you that you're acting to different crowds, so there's a different kind of feeling, and maybe a nuances to the acting and the character. But they know the script, they know what they're supposed to say, they know what part of the stage they're supposed to be on. It's rehearsed. That's the word I'm looking for. And of course, you go to the art gallery, the artist still isn't like painting the pictures. So you're going to see a program in both cases. DJing is like live programming. So, getting back to like the answer to that, what they said, there's a lot of factors, and I'm going to end, I got about a minute. There's a lot of factors that go into your live programming. I mean, think about it. Use that club as an example. It was a Levi Leather club. It was an older men's club. It was a gay club. It had a dance floor. The time of year, at that time of year, it was like mid-February, it was winter. You have to consider what kind of music is being released. I was also a record pool DJ. As a promotional DJ, I reported to Billboard and to. I had to think about what I was going through in my life, where I was at as an artist, and of course, the type of people that like frequented the bar, and but that I was also a performer. I'm not a jukebox, and also what people like in the bar and the staff, what they like to hear. Again, what's big, what's happening in the club scene and the music world right now. There's a lot of factors to take into consideration. Not just like what's on the shelf, like on the Buy Me On New shelf, at the record store. So, all right, enough for me. let's wrap up for now. This is Tech Talk Pilot Episode 1. I'm djPerdición. It's been a blast, and I'll see you next time. Take care.